right? I got to pass that around the mess to the ones that got 11th grade education in English, Anyways, that's that letter. Let's get on letter 2 here. Let's close out this one. Letter 2. All right, we got letter 2 up. Wow. All right, so letter 2 is warfighting competency. Every sailor deserves a chief petty officer that is an expert in their rating and is a technical authority. A chief that has a plan for building winning combat teams and executing any and all missions that are assigned. Sailors should trust with the highest confidence that their chief understands what needs to be done and what it takes to do so. Sailors should know their purpose and how they fit into the command's mission. They should understand how the command mission supports the objectives of the overall national defense strategy. So this one right here, I got 2 highlights, all right? 2 highlights, couple notes, okay? I think I need to go through faster on these. I don't know. First, bold letters, right? Expert in their rating and technical authority. We need more tools and training. So much has been given to the tech reps. And I'm not even a technical rating. We all know that. I'm a low LS, right? We're not technical rating. But even at that, so much has been given to the civilians out there and the civilian side of everything that control the DLRs, that control the financials. In the LCS program, it's civilians that control S1, and I'm just a glorified RPPO called SUPO on board, okay? Like, all of that has been taken away from us, right, for the sake of continuity on the shore, right? Because that civilian will say they're another 20 fucking years doing that job. So we don't need you to do it, Chief, because you have all the collaterals and other bullshit, so we're going to take this work away from you. And there are some technical experts out there. I know a lot of LSs out there that are like super book smart, super into it, know how to go through our supply with a fine-tooth comb and pick it apart and all this and that. Cool, they're out there every now and then, right? Book nerds that just, let me rehearse or recite the, FIORA 85 and blah, blah. Cool, that's not me. But, when I asked my sailors this question, I said, hey, do you think your chief is an expert in their rating and is the technical authority? They said yes, but what I wanted them to think about was like, am I a technical or expert as a logistics specialist? I'm okay. Yo, Nick, I'm not even the best LS in the building, bro. Like, it's an inside joke for me and Nick, but if you know, you know. And that's okay. I don't have to be the best LS. But am I a technical expert on being a chief? And then what does that mean? Right? Because there are a lot of good technical experts out there in the rate, but when it comes to being a technical expert as a chief, maybe they're not so expert, right? Maybe they're not so good, right? And you could look at a chief eval, right, where it has your mission, vision, guiding principles, your MVGPs on there, right? And the institutional technical expertise block. Maybe only 50% of that is true, and I think I have that written on here somewhere, right? You might be a technical expert, but institutional, you can't write an eval to save your fucking life. You don't know how to put a fucking routing sheet on something. This came up. We're talking about routing sheets. This is no shit, real life. So someone said something about routing sheets, and I said, yeah, no shit. On the routing sheet, it has a block in there that says return no later than date. You're supposed to put a fucking date in there so the triad and everyone can see when you need this back so you can do whatever the hell you need to do with it. But there's chiefs that are like, oh, I've never seen that. I never looked. Well, there you fucking go. That fucking explains that, don't it? But yeah, so like a bunch of shit's been taken away from us, right? It's not all in our hands. It's in a lot of civilian hands. And, for whatever reason, that was the Navy's decision, right? So if we don't have that, it kind of undercuts us a lot, especially for the real technical ratings, right? The super tech ratings that every time something breaks, they're like, yeah, I got to call the tech rep. Yep, I got to call the tech rep, right? It is because Chief doesn't know. But it's not because Chief hasn't tried to know. It's because Chief grew up calling the tech rep, because somewhere along the lines, the job was created for a tech rep to be the fucking SME on your radar system. And then it was, you know what, just put trouble ticket in Navy 311 and call the check rep, and then they'll walk you through everything. And she goes, all right, well, since they're doing that, I guess I got to go to all these other meetings of collaterals that the Navy invented. Look at a collaterals list. Look at that shit. Right? Yeah, exactly. That's my point. So sailors should know their purpose and how they fit into the command and mission. I said, it's harder to recognize when it feels there is no mission. Yep. We just felt that although there was, right, this last underway, unless you were up on the bridge, an officer driving, if you're the OD, right, unless you were that, you really felt like the whole last week of our underway time was, what the fuck are we doing? Right? I went up to the bridge to see what we're doing, and as I'm up there, it's cool. I see what we're doing, right? Oh, this is pretty cool, right? But if you're an engineer down there, if you're anyone below the fucking, O2, you just feel you're underway along for a ride, and you have no idea what's going on. And that's not due to bad messaging by the captain or anyone. It's just because, like, sometimes shit just does not involve you. You know what I mean? And it's hard to feel part of the mission when the mission isn't you, especially for like little underway times and stuff. Deployment might be a little bit different, but and then it says overall defense strategy. Woo! Overall defense strategy. I just wrote down way too deep for first termers. First term, like, come on, you expect me to sit down with like an 18 to 20-year-old and be like, all right, let's talk. And one, like, I could try to talk like I know the national defense strategy. I'd really have to fucking like kind of have to look it up and dig into weeds or something to really know the national defense strategy. As a chief would put it, there's the fucking country over there called China. Here's us. We're fighting over these chain of islands and this and that, like in this geographical area here on the map. They're trying to do this. We're trying to stop it. There's this little country called Taiwan. They think it's China. We say it's not. Yada, yada, yada. In about 3 years, everything's going to go to hell and we're going to fucking have a war. So what's our national defense strategy? Have more ships and fucking missiles that can shoot them and kill them before they do us. Sound good there, first termer? You thought so. All right, let's get back to it. Next paragraph. We as chiefs are very good at taking care of the day-to-day work and routine assignments. We excel at putting out fires and responding to emergencies of all types. Our Navy has some chiefs that believe that is all that is expected of them. If you are the chief that comes to work just in time to receive the plan of day, execute the routine schedule, and solve problems, you are not meeting the standards of a chief petty officer. Chiefs make time to reflect on their leadership, their teams, and what it will take to develop a clear path to success. They keep their eye on the horizon and look ahead for storm clouds that, because of their wisdom, only they see coming. Chiefs must think strategically. They must forecast out, find those potential problems and solve them before they occur. Chiefs need to plan and plan early. Chiefs should have a comprehensive watch bill replacement plan. Chiefs need to understand their maintenance, administration, training, and all other things that must be done. They must know when to do it and how it needs to be done. So this is like my biggest paragraph right here. Okay. A lot going on that. My highlights: day-to-day work and routine assignments, putting out fires, responding to emergencies. That's like two separate ends of that line there, right? So like some chiefs come in and they just come in. It's the day-to-day. Oh yeah, today we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that, and then we're gonna punch out. Good to go. And then there's a fire during that day. Oh my God, guys, everyone stop doing the day-to-day. There's a fire and we got to put it out, and let me get all hands on deck. It's an all hands effort and we got to do it. And boom, fire's out. All right. DH fires out. Captain fires out. Where we go back to the day-to-day. All right, let me sit back down. All right. And what he's saying is like, cool. Yeah, chiefs are good at that. But that's like bare minimum, because you wouldn't be having those fires, and the day-to-day would be easier if we could plan out. Well, maybe not easier, because we all know this, plan of deception, it goes to hell regularly, right? If you're the chief that comes to work just in time to receive the POD, that's so funny, right? Just in time to receive the POD. Some don't even print out the POD, right? I actually, I'm one. I think it wastes trees, so I just look at the one that gets posted. set alarms for what I might need to be at, take notes on anything that stands out, and go from there. Chiefs make time to reflect on their leadership, their teams, and what it will take to develop a clear path to success. I actually really like that one, right? This is the ones like I actually like this paragraph a lot because this is the one where I feel like it's calling us out, and it's one of those like if it touches your heart, like my boy Gary says, no fucking like, subscribe, and share right now. Leave a comment down below. How do you think this touched your Chiefs' heart? They're not built this way. This is what I wrote down. They're not built this way because the focus is advancement. Chiefs, their focus is advancement. I'd say probably about 75% of them. They want to be senior chiefs. Senior chiefs want to be master chiefs. They want to do that because they want more money, because they want to take better care of their families. It's understandable. It's not a fault. But they do it at the detriment of these other things, right? If they're doing this, it's only because they want to say they did it so it could look better on the chief eval, the this, the that. It's a selfish approach to it, okay? If you had an unselfish approach to it, and you looked ahead for the storm clouds that because of their wisdom only they see coming. If you had that unselfish and you saw that, you would do it for the command and for the sailor and for this your division with everyone else's best interest at the forefront, knowing that you're going to be able to piggyback off that self-interest. I said piggyback. You're going to be able to piggyback off that interest of them, and it's only going to make life easier and better for you, right? There's no secret to this, right? Like, but like that I wrote, don't have experience to match perceived wisdom or know how to apply it. It's one of those, me and my boy, he was talking on board when we first got out on deployment, and there were some things the place was fucked up, right? It was a mess, shit everywhere. And he started talking about, hey, we'll do this, we'll put that there, we'll do this. And I was like, yeah, we'll do that. And, we'll just throw this in there, we'll clean it up. And we're like, I was like, why couldn't these other people think of this, right? And as part of that, they didn't have that wisdom because they didn't have that experience. Wisdom comes from experience. And when you only do the same thing over and over in the Navy, right, and you haven't seen different platforms or you just don't have a wide range of experiences, or you only show up to do the day-to-day, right, and you just put out the fire as it comes, then you're lacking that. So yeah, you might have the anchors on. Everyone thinks you have all the experience and wisdom, but you really don't. So then when it comes down to it, you're severely lacking, and you're putting the command, not in a good position, right? You're putting your division, your sailors, not in a good position, right? Look ahead for storm clouds that because of their wisdom only they see coming. There's a lot of people that don't see the fucking storm clouds coming. Sit down at your next mess meeting if you're a chief listening to this, and like punch holes through everything, right? And then when you push it out, be ready for the holes to be punching through your shit. It's only going to make us all better, right? But what we want to do is be like, no. My shit's the most important. You can't punch holes into it. You just have to do it the way I say, and then it'll all work out. And then you get there, and it didn't work out, and now you're behind, and now the command is behind. And now your sailors are working harder and longer, right? Chiefs must think strategically. They must forecast out, find those potential problems, and solve them before they occur. It's just like, again, I think it just wraps up. Like, if you don't have that wisdom, you don't know what you're looking for. If you haven't experienced all those problems, you don't know what you're looking for, right? If you're a chief and it's your first ship, what the fuck do you know to look for, right? You might have had, problems in other places, but you haven't had the ship problems. If you've never hit a port visit, how do you know what to look for or ask about for in a port visit, right? If you like, and it's one of those like, if the only place you ever pulled into port was like fucking Bahrain, then yeah, Bahrain's an easy port visit. But have you pulled into like these austere, small ass little places, right? And have you ever had the experience of, being on the pier and working with the husbanding agent and working with the locals and breaking down the barriers of communication and working the system, right? Always on that line of fucking, you have to, on the line of ethics, always staying on the right side of it, but always on the line of ethics, making shit happen. If you've never done that, you don't have the wisdom to foresee the problems. And now you're fucked. Right? So I think we have to acknowledge that not everyone has all that wisdom that the anchors perceive them to have, right? Or that the anchors represent, right? And if we can acknowledge that would go a long way. Okay. The watch bill replacement plan, I put how when I don't know who I'm getting or when. And this is a very hit home with LCS program. Okay. You just don't know. You don't know when or who or how you're going to get your next sailor to fill your gap to billet. I've been down 3 sailors for a year now. I've gone through several TAD sailors here and there, a TAD first class for deployment, getting another TAD first class for this next deployment with the PG on the books, but that's only maybe if another ship doesn't steal him TAD for their deployment before I actually get them. Right, and that's LCS. Okay, this is so you want me to have a watch bill? This is something I specifically talk to my sailors about what a watch bill replacement plan is, how it works, and the way I explained it to them. Right, how can I fill out a watch bill replacement plan when I have no replacements? All I could put in there is January PG for that watch station. For scene anchor detail on the starboard lookout, it's a PG starting January. Because I know my other one will be gone, and I don't have anyone to fill that spot. Because by January, if we're back from deployment on time, I'll be down to 2 CSs. Because I doubt that third one that's coming in, I doubt they're going to make it from now until November when they should be on board without getting ganked by another command that will also be going out on deployment. Because they'll look at us and be like, yeah, you only got a couple months left. You'll be okay. Motherfuckers. This one was funny. They must know when to do it and how it needs to be done. Right? If we look at that part right here, right? Bottom of paragraph 2. Chiefs need to understand their maintenance, administrative training, and all other things that must be done. They must know when to do it and how it needs to be done. So I laughed so hard at this as I work next to our 3MC. And I put, when to do it. SCED tells us. How it needs to be done. The MRC tells you. I'm funny. Ding. But like seriously, like there's everything out there. Like it says administrative on here, right? Okay, well, check the 1610 for evals. It tells you when they're due, how they're all that stuff. It's the military. Everything should tell us when and how we're supposed to do these things. It's only when our wisdom outside of the box is supposed to come into play for those other things, those problems that we should be able to see coming to be like, actually, you know what, this and that. And since I've already done that, I already know where I'm supposed to go to fix those kinds of problems. And then let's just see how this problem is a little bit different and what I got to change for this specific problem. But I've encountered something similar to this before. So I'm going to start there with that basic outline and plan, right? All right. Let's keep going here. A chief must be, without a doubt, technical expert. Sailors, both officers and enlisted alike, must believe in their chief as the ultimate authority on technical information. Chiefs must embrace. Pause. That right there, we can't be. We cannot be, especially for the super technical rates, right? Not 100% all the time, but if you have to call tech reps more and put in more trouble tickets to work on your system than being able to just to work on it, the chief can't be. Right, you know how many chiefs I have would tell me, yeah, I think that this is what's wrong. I told everybody, but everyone said that we have to call the tech rep, or I can't work on it. We have to call the tech rep to work on it. It can't be me. I'm not allowed to open this and work on it. It has to be the tech rep. But I know what's wrong. It's this thing in there. It's true. So, chiefs must embrace a life of continuous learning and press this upon their sailors. Pause. What is like, that's, to me nowadays, that's such a catchy cliche, like fucking triggery thing, out there, right? You must embrace the life of continuous learning. Learning what? Like learning your rate? Like you want me to keep reading the 45? Like what do you want me to learn about? I watch a lot of DIY YouTube shows. And theoretically I know how to rebuild a house. actuality, my wife's not going to let me because it will never be rebuilt. We'll be homeless. So, like, what is the continuing learning part? Like, are you speaking again? It goes back to the other learning. Are you speaking just Navy? Do you want me just to learn about Navy? Well, how much Navy is there to learn? Not saying you could learn all of it, but at like each kind of pay grade area, right? I think there's caps. You got enlisted leadership stuff now, right? So if I go to that, I've learned that. What do you want me to learn now? Are you saying I must pick up these leadership books? Go check out that fucking episode, right? Like, what is the continuous learning, right? There's not a lot of avenues in the Navy to make you a better rate, right? There's a couple schools, and by the time you get to my spot, like, you go to the schools, you know most of it already. There might be one new trick or something, or an update that someone teaches you to be like, oh, okay, now I didn't know that, but that just came out the last 2 years. I haven't used it, and I haven't used our supply now in was that 7 years? So maybe in our supply there's some, that's the system we use, right? Maybe there's something there that's changed that I don't know about now, but it's probably kind of the same. All right. Let's keep going. Let's keep scrolling. Chiefs are relied on to make the right decision, the execution of our mission. Chiefs must prepare their sailors, give them the tools and time and training necessary to succeed, teach them, make technical mastery the number one priority, and reward it. We need warriors that can maintain our platforms to include themselves, combat ready and operational when casualties occur. Casualties will occur, and we must fight our way through them. Find opportunities to continue challenging our sailors and your teams to not only be qualified, but proficient and confident. Again, all stuff that I like. It's not that I dislike this stuff. It's just I don't think it's like reality to a system that we're living in, right? We can make technical mastery the number one priority, and we can reward it by making sure like those evals are written well, and we're getting them awards and all that. But I always go back to the tech rep thing because I've seen it so much. How when those casualties occur and we can't fix it because we're not allowed to go into it. Well, what's the line? What's going to happen if we go ahead and say, hey, fucking do it? Because when the war happens, are we going to just fly tech reps out? Or are we going to be like, oh, yeah, actually, Chief and pt.2, fucking get after it, fix it, get it up and running? I don't know. Casualties will occur, and we must fight our way through them. Yes, but like right now, if a casualty occurs, we can still get into port and fix it. Or we should be able to fix it, but we can't because there's no infrastructure to fixing our ships, or the infrastructure is overloaded. So what are we doing for that? Right? I look at it, I was like there's again time and place for it, right? We need to get there, and we need to be ready for it because that war is coming. Everyone knows it is. Everyone talks about it. It's out there. It was on fucking like Dateline. Okay. Admiral's talking about it. Like, there's all that. But if right now it's not happening, then why don't we fix everything to a status of, actually working operable at the highest levels all the way across the board, and then get us the training to make sure it stays like that while we have the time, because we're running out of that time. Because he's right. Because, like he said in the, what is it, last one, right? When our adversaries decide to challenge us, and that's coming, and we're running out of time to get this up. And maybe that's why I'm saying it like that, right? But, if you're just planning now, we're really behind, and that's what's scary. Next one. Chiefs occupy a privileged position in the Navy, and as such, pause. The Chiefs occupy a privileged position in the Navy. That, again, messaging. You're going to use the word privilege when privilege is about the worst fucking thing in society right now. Check your privilege, right? So again, a messaging to me, that's a horrible phrase to send around the Chiefs. Now, on one side, people are like, well, it's a privilege to serve, and it's a privilege to lead, and that, and it's like, so you try to flip it that way to be like, hey, it's a good thing. But most sailors for coming out of today's civilian society into the Navy see that and be like, yep, see, Chiefs are fucking privileged. And those privileges should be taken away from them. And that's why every fucking instruction now you see the word equitable, right? Because my hard work that I put in for the last almost 19 years has to be distributed to everyone else because I can't have this privilege of eating in a different small room, right? So we got to knock the wall down and it should just be one area. Don't get me started on that. Maybe another time. But like, that's what I'm getting at, right? So again, chiefs occupy a privileged position in the Navy, and as such, the Navy expects a great deal from its chiefs. Yes, as they should. Okay, but not because we're in a privileged position, but because it is our responsibility at this pay grade. Maybe let's just like let's take this down to the most narrowest, smallest terms. Like our pay grade is one step up, and it's where the Navy has decided to draw the line of like senior and junior. So because we are senior, because we're supposed to have all this stuff, it is our direct responsibility to those junior sailors to do all of this, right? But it's not because I have a special privilege that they don't have. I've argued about this in previous episodes, right? It's the privilege that I have to come in when they go, hey, Kaki's working on a Saturday, but not juniors. Well, what do you want me to work on? If my juniors work are if my divisional work is all done, it's because my junior sailors kicked ass this weekend. It's all done. So what do you want me to do? Unless you're telling me, are you telling me directly I fucked up and I didn't turn shit in? Because if you're telling me that, okay, I could understand. But you're telling me I just have to be here because all these other fucking department heads and all these other chiefs fucked up their shit? Again, no, not for me. Skip me on that one. We have much work to do in this area, and I need you to look hard at your skills. Find the gaps in your knowledge and shore them up. Never be satisfied with the status quo. Always look to improve yourself. Let's get after it. You know, I'm not mad at it, right? You need to look hard at your skills, like, I don't know, find the gaps in your knowledge. Yeah. And again, it goes back to what I said before. If you're talking to your division about these letters, right, I bet your division is going to be able to point it out real fucking quick and easy where you lacking, Chief. Mine did. You know, I got mine. I told mine that they're on leave now. So I know they're not going to do it. But, right, I should call them in because they didn't finish it. Because I said, hey, write my eval. Not because I can't write my eval. I could write my eval in a day, right, in hours. I could have it done. But it's training for them. They've never even looked at a chief eval. They don't even know what's on. They don't even know that it's different. 2, they'll learn that it's different. They'll learn that we're looking for different things, that we have to write to those things, right? It's good writing practice for them now. Learn how to write an eval now will save you trouble in the future. Okay, but can they look at me and be like, Chief, what have you been doing? And how do I account for that? Or they be like, fuck, Chief, you don't do shit. I'm gonna write you an eval that matches what you've been doing. Nothing. I'm good with either one, whatever they think, right? But let them write it, right? That's what we're supposed to be going to anyways in the Navy, right? Is having our juniors grade us on how we do as their leader. So why not let them write their eval? It's just gonna be a rough copy anyways. It don't gotta be perfect. You can chop it up anyways, but it's a training evolution. Let's see what they give you. Let's see what chops you make to it, what kind of education you bring back to them, and see what they point out. The same with my midterm. I say, hey, write my midterm for me. Not write it for me. Tell me so I can write it. I say, what are my strengths? What are my weaknesses? What can I improve on? I called each one of my sailors in and told them, give me something. I didn't let them leave until they did. You can tell they're uncomfortable. Just give it to me. You think you're going to hurt my feelings? You ain't going to hurt my feelings. And someone gave some real good, honest feedback. I said, okay, I'm stepping out of the office and you're not going to find me in here. It's your show. Ha, ha, ha. Worked in my favor, right? Hey, if it's an email from these people, I expect to see your response by the end of the day. Otherwise, I'm going to bug you about it. You take care of all emails from this group. I take care of all emails from that group, right? Thanks for the feedback. Now you got the work to do. Now you got to prove it to me that you're ready for it, right? Or that you can do it. And all smooth, all good. But if I don't get that feedback directly from them, if I'm just a chief that's going into my midterm writing down my own shit, and I go sit down with the captain and your CMC or whoever, and they tell you this and that, and maybe they got good feedback, maybe they don't, whatever. That's cool, right? I work for the captain. I need to know what he's thinking and where I need to improve for him. But if I know for the most part I'm top of my shit with him, then who's the next best person to go to? Or the first person, your division, right? Because if your division is getting all that work done, they're the ones making you look like a star. All you gotta do is report up, stop by, hey yo, this is what's going on. DH, this is what's going on. XOCO, right? Yeah, why is it all good? Because the division made it all good. I'm just a mouthpiece, man. You know, I keep thinking someone's coming. All right, we'll get on to part 3 of the MCPON letters. Where's that? Hey, thanks for tuning in to another episode of the Bravo Zulu podcast. Don't forget, we're over on YouTube. If you want to watch it there, you can leave a comment down there. Let us know what you think about these MCPON letters, how you're reacting to them, how your chiefs are reacting to them, and if this should be done more often or more transparency like this is warranted. All right. Don't forget, if you're listening to this, wherever platform, it's always good to leave us a review. Let us know how we're doing. Like I said, you can leave a comment over on YouTube. All right. Join the discussion over there. And, don't forget to follow us on Instagram. We got a page on Facebook, and we're trying to build it up and do good things. Right. If it touched your heart, please share it with someone else so it can touch their heart too. Like, subscribe, all the good stuff, turn on bells for notifications, blah, blah, blahs. All right. And for more information on how you can support the podcast, please visit us over at anchor.fm/Bravo Zulu podcast. The information, views, and opinions expressed in this podcast are solely of myself, Joshua Moore, and the individuals involved, and do not necessarily represent the DOD, DOR, or those of the respective institutions or organizations. Thanks for joining us.